Okay. Good morning. This is the 65th Protective Work Court in El Paso, Texas. I'm Judge Victor Salas. Today is March 26, 2024. We are appearing via Zoom, and with me this morning is court reporter Elizabeth Agustin, court bailiff Ruben Villa, who has a camera set up in the courtroom just in case a litigant or a witness shows up in person to testify, and court coordinator Deanna Macias. I'm calling cause number 2024 DCM 1392 style for the protection of Crystal Monique Rodriguez, applicant versus Francisco Galvan Jr., respondent. May I have an announcement of counsel, please?
Joseph Signor with the County Attorney's Office for Crystal Monique Rodriguez. Ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay. Now I see that Ms. Crystal Rodriguez is on the Zoom gallery. Ms. Rodriguez, please raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear that any testimony you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hands down. Who's not on the Zoom gallery is the respondent, Francisco Galvan Jr. The court will take judicial notice that Mr. Galvan was properly served on March 19, 2024 here in El Paso County. Mr. Villa, have you called out the name of Francisco Galvan Jr. here at the courthouse?
I did, Your Honor. I called out his name 3 times. That was my answer.
Right, and for the record, this case was scheduled at 8:30. It's now 8:52. Mr. Villa, has Mr. Galvan called the court to let us know that he's having some sort of issues?
No, Your Honor, he has not.
Well, since Mr. Galvan was properly served and he is not on the Zoom gallery and he's not here at the courthouse and hasn't contacted the court, I'm going to find that he's failed to appear. We will proceed in a default manner. Mr. Signor, call your first witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. We call Crystal Rodriguez.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, could you please state your full name for the record?
Crystal Monique Rodriguez.
And you're the applicant for this protective order hearing today, correct?
Yes.
And you are filing against the respondent, Francisco Galvan, is that correct?
Yes.
And you are here today because you previously had an active protective order that ran from the 22nd of March, 2022 through the 9th of March, 2024, is that correct?
Yes.
And while that protective order was in place, this gentleman continued to harass you, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Specifically on September 26th of 2023, you received over 50 phone calls in that same day from him, is that correct?
Yes.
And also over the same amount of voicemails, is that correct?
Yes.
And besides that specific day, you were receiving phone calls and messages from him many days, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's even times where you saw him driving by your home, is that correct?
Yes.
Despite the active protective order, correct?
Yes.
And that behavior made you feel harassed, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you just would like this behavior to stop?
Yes.
Okay. And you feel like this is going to continue if you don't have this new protective order in place, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, we have no further questions, and we also rest.
Court's going to find that Crystal Monique Rodriguez, the applicant, appeared in person with the assistant county attorney, and that Francisco Galvan Jr., the respondent, having been duly cited, did not appear and wholly made default, and a record of the testimony has been made by Elizabeth Agustin. The court, having read the pleadings and heard the evidence and argument of counsel, finds that all necessary prerequisites of law have been satisfied, and that this court has jurisdiction over the parties and subject matter of this cause. The court finds that the respondent violated a prior protective order pursuant to Texas Family Code 85.002, that the order was in effect at the time of the violation and that the order has expired after the date the violation occurred. The court finds that the following protective orders are necessary for the protection of the family and are in the best interest of the parties and of other members of the family or household. It is therefore ordered that the applicant's request for protective order is hereby granted until the 25th day of March of 2026, unless Francisco Galvan Jr. is confined or imprisoned on that day, in which case the protective order would be extended and expires pursuant to Texas Family Code 85.025C. It's ordered that Francisco Galvan Jr. is prohibited from committing acts of family violence, communicating directly with Ms. Rodriguez or any member of the family or household in a threatening or harassing manner, or communicating a threat through any other person to Ms. Rodriguez or any member of the family or household. Mr. Galvan is also prohibited from going within 200 yards of the residence or place of employment of Ms. Rodriguez or any member of the family or household. That residential address is 9711 Anvil Place, El Paso, Texas 79924. And the employment address will remain confidential. The respondent is also prohibited from engaging in any conduct towards Ms. Rodriguez or any member of the family or household that would likely harass, terrify, intimidate, annoy, harm, abuse, torment, embarrass, or offend the person. Mr. Galvan is prohibited from possessing a firearm unless he is a peace officer, and he is prohibited from harming, threatening, or interfering with the care, custody, or control of a pet, companion animal, or assistance animal that's in the actual or constructive care of Ms. Rodriguez or any member of the family or household. And if Mr. Galvan has a license to carry a handgun, it is suspended immediately. It's further ordered that Francisco Galvan Jr. is prohibited from removing the children, Mason Galvan and Catayella Galvan, from the possession of Ms. Crystal Monique Rodriguez or from El Paso County. Ms. Rodriguez granted exclusive access possession to the children. Mr. Galvan will be assessed court costs in connection with this protective order. Mr. Galvan will be provided with a copy of this protective order at the last known mailing address, and a copy will also be forwarded to the Chief of Police for the City of El Paso, Texas, the Sheriff of El Paso County, Texas, as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety. And pursuant to the Texas Family Code, the parties are hereby notified of their right to a de novo hearing before the referring court by filing a written request as specified in the Texas Family Code. There are also several warnings at the bottom of the protective order that all parties must adhere to. Mr. Signor, is there anything else that I need to address?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
I will be signing and filing this default protective order with the El Paso County District Clerk's office. The district clerk will then generate a signed, dated, stamped copy that will be emailed to you, Mr. Signor, or to your office. And then your office will then forward a copy of that order to Ms. Rodriguez. If there's nothing else, we are adjourned, and you're free to log off. Good luck to you, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Espinosa, you said that Salinas would be somebody in your office? You're muted.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Judge, Zuleva Salinas, I believe is her last name.
Reese, the 9 o'clock applicant? Is that-
Yes. Oh, they must have renamed her.
There's M. Casas, anybody?
Oh, she's my legal assistant, Your Honor. She's gonna log on just to.
Nance, okay, she's still, Miss Garcia Herrera's still connecting. Let's see. The person that is shown as Z. Salinas, can you give me your name, please?
Christina Rose Reese. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Sure can. Let me just put your name on there, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Garcia Guerrero, can you hear us, ma'am?
Buenos días.
Buenos días, ¿cómo le va?
Bien, gracias.
Miss Macías will need an interpreter. Vamos a conseguir un intérprete, señorita García Guerrero. No, me aparece que se presentó el señor Torres. Vamos a ver aquí en la corte si se presentó en persona. Si no, se le va a conceder su orden de protección por automáticamente. Pero hay un abogado que está en el salón de espera. Same thing with you, Ms. Ruiz, that we're going to see if Mr. Morales shows up. If not, then you're granted a default protective order. But there's an attorney that's signing on. Let's see who he is here for.
Okay.
Judge, I already called Mr. Derek Morales. He's not here.
And how about Mr.
Mr. Flores is representing Mr. Torres.
Oh, is he? Oh, great.
Sure.
I can see that. You're absolutely right. Let me look.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Flores. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
You got yourself a professional operation there, or are you at a radio station?
I'm trying to switch professions, Judge.
You
I don't
want to
know
be a DJ, huh?
I don't know about these legal issues.
Right. MC Flowers.
And there you go. I'm gonna change my Zoom name. MC Flowers. There you go.
You know what? I wish all attorneys would do that. It sounds great.
Awesome.
It's just here 4 years into this whole pandemic thing, should have been done immediately by everybody, but that really sounds very good.
Awesome, Judge.
I see that you entered continuance, an answer and a motion for continuance for Edgar Torres. Is that correct? Is that
That's exactly right, Your Honor. Yes.
let me just, I had not, I thought I checked that out yesterday. I guess, or it must have been, yeah, it was late after I reviewed the docket yesterday for today with the attorney. Yeah.
We got high. I spoke with the gentleman yesterday midday, and then he swung by later on to get us retained, Judge.
Have you had a chance to talk to Assistant County Attorney Evelyn Espinosa?
No, I have not, Your Honor.
Let me put you both in a breakout room so you can chit chat to see what the situation is there. Señorita García Guerrero, va a hablar la señorita Espinosa, la fiscal Espinosa, con el abogado Flores que está representando al señor Torres, y tenga su teléfono listo porque es posible que le hable la señorita Espinosa para discutir el caso.
Okay.
Okay. And Ms. Espinosa, I guess, well, there's an iPhone. Let me see if that iPhone is the respondent in Ms. Reese's case, Mr. Morales. Let's see. Will the person on the iPhone, can you unmute and tell me what your name is, please? If you can hear me.
Edgar Torres.
Mr. Edgar Torres.
Edgar Torres, a sus órdenes, señor.
Muy
Edgar,
bien.
¿te
Aquí
puedes
estás.
remover la cachucha, por favor, Edgar?
Ay, una disculpa, abogado.
Aquí está su abogado, el señor Flores. Él va a ir a un salón privado con la fiscal para discutir el caso un poco. Es posible que el señor Flores le hable. Y si le habla en su celular, entiendo que está usando su celular para esta audiencia, pero si se sale del Zoom, nomás regrese, no tenga cuidado. All right, I'm going to open a breakout. Were you preparing that default, Ms. Espinosa?
Yes, I am, Judge. I can send it. And
Okay, can Mr. Signor maybe handle it for you?
sure, Judge, I mean, if,
Okay, well, let's see how long you and Mr. Flores discuss the case.
okay.
If it's gonna be something quick and you're gonna be able to handle it, then we'll be okay.
Mhm.
All right,
Okay,
let
and I'll
me
help if you want,
put you and Mr. Flores in breakout room number 3. And there you go.
Thank you, Judge.
Y señor Torres, también estamos esperando un intérprete. Ahorita
Claro que
sí,
sí.
adelante.
Muy amable, juez. Claro que sí.
And so Ms. Reese, as soon as Ms. Espinosa gets us that default protective order, we'll have a short hearing just to put that on the record. So hold tight for a little bit, okay?
You.
Ms. Licona, what's going on?
Judge, we do have an agreement.
Okay.
I want Ms. Lievano to be here when I ask you. The only thing that I have concerns about, she's asking for no communication. There are 2 young children, and it is an agreed 5-year order. Is the court thinking that the non-threatening communication is the language to go with? Because there is going to be no visitation until further order of the court. TRLA does represent the applicant in that matter. I do believe that there will be visitation addressed in there, and my concern is by putting no communication for 5 years, that we may not be doing anyone any favors.
Right now, I think that when there's children involved, it needs to be any communication in a threatening or harassing manner. And since there's attorneys involved, that can be worked out. There can be no possession access until further order of the court. That kind of puts the fire under the feet of the parties to get things going. That way, their respective attorneys can get their case into court so we can figure something out. Okay, but I think that at this point, it just needs to be in a threatening, harassing manner.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate that. I'll have the order signed shortly. Ms. Lievano, I'll be sending that out for signature. Please look for that in your email.
Thank you.
And Judge, I can send you the order as it is now, and then keep the parties on to sign. I just need a compliance hearing date. There are 2 firearms involved.
So Mr. Sparks is back in the waiting room. Let me bring him in and see what the deal is.
Okay.
So Ms. Macias, can you get us a compliance date, please?
And then Judge, I just need the 48-hour date. What would you like that to read? 5 p.m. on the 28th?
5 p.m. on the
Or noon?
Yeah, because noon on the 28th would give them enough time.
Thank you.
Remember, we'll all be off on Friday.
Yes, okay.
Do April 2nd at 8:30?
Thank you.
Is this for the 1362?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, Deanna, that was 8:30, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
So Ms. Esparza, Ms. Licona says that there's an agreement. She's preparing that written agreement for signature, and then we'll have a short hearing on the record, just so everybody can testify under oath that they're in agreement with. So it'll be just a few minutes, okay? Morning, Ms. Garza, can you hear us?
Good morning, Judge. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The attorney for the parties that need your assistance are discussing the case, and we'll see where it goes in a little bit. It may be reset, and at that point, we won't need your assistance, but give us a few minutes, okay?
Yes, Judge. I'll be here.
Mr. Esparza, Ms. Lievano, please review and sign the document and complete the process so that I can receive it.
I have a question. Before I sign this, is there any way I could talk to my wife and say goodbye?
Ms. Licona, did you hear Mr. Esparza's request?
I did, Judge, and I'm not in favor of it. I was going to leave that to you, Your Honor.
No, I think that just something you could discuss with your client. I guess it's not in my. If she wants to, I'm okay with it. If she doesn't want to, that's that's understandable too.
I'll call her, Judge. Thank you. I would like to get this on the record. I have a 9:30 appointment, Judge, so.
Okay.
Hi, Judge. I don't know if we lost Sam.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. You see, he just think he's a DJ. Not seeing him as a lawyer anymore.
MC Flowers.
What's going on?
Your Honor, I'm kind of asking for a 2-week extension with a TPO in place. I think we're going to be able to work out potentially a deal, like an agreed protective order with no findings, maybe. But as I was telling you earlier, I spoke to Mr. Torres for like 10, 15 minutes yesterday because I was about to go into a hearing. So I need to bring him into the office, explain to him. And hopefully, I mean, I think the county attorney's office is fine with the request, as long as obviously the court is fine with it.
Ms. Espinosa?
Yes, Your Honor. The only thing we would ask is for a temporary protective
Right.
order, but I think we'll be able to resolve it.
All right. So since we have attorneys on both sides, I don't think we need to go on the record. I'll tell the party. So Miss Garza, if you could help me out, that way we'll have a true interpretation. Ms. Garcia Guerrero and Mr. Torres, your attorneys have come to the agreement of resetting the case.
Que señora García Guerrero, señor Torres, sus abogados ya llegaron a un acuerdo de dar una prórroga en el caso.
Perfecto.
Let me find a date that is good for all the parties. Okay.
Vamos a buscar una fecha para que quede bien para todas las partes.
Ms. Macias, how much time? Well, you think it'll be agreed, but if you didn't, you don't come to an agreement, Ms. Espinosa, how much time do you think you'll need for this case?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize
We don't need to interpret that. Go ahead, Ms. Espinosa, what do you think?
Your Honor, I would say about 30 minutes for us.
Okay, so an hour.
Or 30 minutes, yes.
1 hour, okay. So Ms. Macias, can you find us an hour within the next 2-week period? You don't need to interpret, Ms. Garza.
Judge, while you do that, may I just say, Mr. Esparza, she said no. So if you could please sign the document.
Okay, April 10th at 10 a.m.
Let me check.
Entonces están viendo el 10 de abril a las 10 de la mañana, van a revisar.
Perfecto.
I'll be in court in CC4, Judge. in the
Well,
morning.
you'll be there all day.
Yes, I mean, I don't want to tell you the
Yeah.
nickname of the court, but I
Right,
think
right. No. I understand that.
April 11th at either 8:30 or at 10.
I'm in mediation in the morning, but I could do the afternoon.
Now we do family law in the afternoon, so
Okay.
find another day.
April 16th at 9.
Yes, that should work for me.
Espinosa?
Yes, Your Honor. I have something at 8:30.
Okay, Ms. Garcia Guerrero and Mr. Edgar Torres, we have reset your case to April 16th, 2024 at 9 a.m.
Que entonces, señora García Guerrero, señor Edgar Torres, ya cambiamos la fecha para su caso, va a ser para el día 16 de abril a las 9 de la mañana.
Since we have since we have attorneys on both sides, we do not need to go on the record.
Y ya que tenemos abogados en las dos partes, no es necesario que conste en acta.
Part of the agreement is that since we are granting Mr. Torres a continuance, we are also granting Ms. Garcia Guerrero a temporary protective order.
Y entonces el convenio entre las partes fue que ya que estamos otorgando la prórroga para el señor Torres, también se otorga una orden de protección provisional para la señora Guerrero.
That temporary order will only be in effect until the next hearing date.
Esta orden provisional solamente tendrá vigencia hasta la próxima fecha de la próxima audiencia.
And Mr. Torres, I'm sure Mr. Flores will explain that temporary order to you.
Y señor Torres, yo estoy seguro que el licenciado Flores le va a explicar todo esto a usted.
So Ms. Espinosa, if you'll get me a temporary protective order with the new dates on it, we'll get it filed and sent to both you and Mr. Flores.
Entonces, licenciada Espinosa, si puede por favor enviarme esta orden de protección provisional con las fechas nuevas y nosotros la tramitaremos y se la enviaremos al licenciado Flores.
Perfecto.
Anything else, Ms. Espinosa?
Nothing further from us, Your Honor.
¿Alguna otra cosa, licenciada Espinosa? No, nada más, su señoría.
Anything else, Mr. Flores?
No, nothing further, Your Honor.
¿Algo más, licenciado Flores? No, nada más, su señoría.
All right, everybody is excused.
Bien, entonces ya se pueden retirar.
Gracias, buen día.
Ya se puede salir, Edgar. Ahorita le marco más al rato.
Claro que sí, abogado. Gracias.
Señora Garcia, I don't know if she's still there. She may have logged on.
You should probably log
Sí.
out. Judge, if Mr. Sigmore is available to chat with me for 5 minutes, I have another protective order with him in the afternoon.
Mr. Signor, are you available?
No, I'm not available to talk to Mr. Flores.
Pretty-
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
I mean, I know we have a pretty busy schedule. I wasn't sure. Ms. Garza, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
Let me put you all in a breakout room. You're still in 2, Mr. Signor. Can you get back in?
And two, yes, I can.
Okay, I'm gonna move you over to breakout room 2, Mr. Flores. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, let me just finish. So Ms. Espinosa, if you'll get me the default on the Ruiz Morales case, please.
Oh, yes, Judge. I was going to ask if he showed up, but let me get that to you.
And Judge, I'm just waiting on a signature from Mr. Esparza on the agreed order.
I sent that over to you.
Did you get a confirmation that said, you're all set?
Let me check. No. You're all set.
Thank you. Ms. Lieva, no, I'm gonna send this out again for everyone's signature because you signed with Mr. Esparza's name. So you'll need to sign it with your own name. I'm gonna send it out again, okay? If you have another email address, you can send that to me by Google Voice text. Because sometimes the signature gets associated with an email account. So if you have another email just where I can send it to you for signature, otherwise we'll have to have you come downtown to sign it.
How do I do Google Text and stuff?
I can't hear you.
How do I send you through Google Text?
The number that I've been calling you from, just send me a
Oh,
text
just-
message. Yes. Mr. Esparza, I'm gonna need to send it out. Well, let me see if I can just change the one.
Okay, Mrs. Esparza, I have your default on Ms. Reese's case. Ms. Osani, you ready to go on the record?
Sorry, Judge, I think she went to the break room.
Okay.
They're talking about my case.
Yes, Ms. Reese, Mr. Morales didn't show, so it's a default. I'm gonna ask you a few questions, okay?
Okay.
On the record, but not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready, Judge.
All right. Good morning. This is 65th Protective Order Court in El Paso, Texas. I'm Judge Victor Salas. Today is March 26, 2024. We are appearing via Zoom. Along with me is court reporter Elizabeth Agustin, court bailiff Ruben Villa, who has a camera set up in the courtroom just in case a litigant or witness shows up in person at the courthouse, and court coordinator Deanna Macias. This morning, I'm calling cause number 2024 DCM 1393 style for the protection of Christina Rose Reese, applicant versus Derek Morales. Respondent, may I have an announcement of counsel, please?
Evelyn Espinosa, Assistant County Attorney on behalf of Ms. Christina Rose Reese, Your Honor.
I see that Ms. Reese is in the Zoom gallery. Ms. Reese, please raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear that any testimony you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
All right, you can lower your hand. Who's not in the Zoom gallery is the respondent, Derek Morales. Court will take judicial notice that he was properly served on March 15, 2024 in the 79901 zip code area, which is here in El Paso County. Mr. Villa, have you called out the name of Derek Morales here at the courthouse?
I did, Your Honor. I called out his name 3 times. There was no answer.
Has he contacted the court to let us know he's having some sort of issues?
No, Your Honor, he has not.
Okay, for the record, this case was scheduled at 9 a.m. It is now 9:34. We've been delayed by some other cases. The court's going to find that since the respondent, Derek Morales, was properly served and he's not in the Zoom gallery, not here in person, nor has he contacted the court, he's failed to appear, we'll proceed in a default manner. Ms. Espinosa, call your first witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, we call Christina Reese.
Go ahead.
Ms. Reese, can you please state your full name for the record?
Christina Rose Reese.
And you are the applicant for this protective order, correct?
Yes.
And you filed it against Mr. Derek Morales?
Yes.
And your relationship to Mr. Morales was that you dated for approximately 2 months?
Yes.
And you do not have any children together, correct?
Correct.
And when you applied for this protective order on March 11th of 2024, you are residing in El Paso County, Texas?
Yes.
And you're applying because of acts of family violence and stalking, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're applying specifically because on in February of 2024, Mr. Morales assaulted you by slapping you, kicking you. He tried to strangle you by having you in a headlock and threw you to the ground. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you did call the police on that occasion?
Yes.
And since that date, he's been stalking you at your place of employment, which is Circle K. He's been going into the store and calling you incessantly and specifically told you he wasn't going to stop. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And you're asking the court to grant this protective order and find family violence and stalking. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because you fear bodily injury and continued harassment by Mr. Morales. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you believe that if the protective order is not granted, that Mr. Morales will continue stalking you and also potentially assault you?
Yes.
And you're asking the court to grant this for a period of 2 years?
Yes.
Pass the witness to me, Your Honor.
Court's going to find that Christina Rose Reese, the applicant, appeared in person with the assistant county attorney, and that Derek Morales, the respondent, having been duly cited, did not appear and wholly may default. The record of the testimony has been made by Elizabeth Epstein. The court, having read the pleadings and heard the evidence and argument of counsel, finds that all necessary prerequisites of law have been satisfied and that this court has jurisdiction over the parties and the subject matter of this cause. The court finds reasonable grounds to believe that the applicant is a victim of stalking. The court further finds that family violence has occurred. It is therefore ordered that the applicant's request for protective order is hereby granted until the 25th day of March of 2026, unless Derek Morales is confined or in prison on that day. If he is, then the protective order would be extended pursuant to Texas Family Code Section 85.025C. It's ordered that Derek Morales is prohibited from committing family violence, communicating in any manner with Christina Rose Reese or any member of her family or household, except through her attorney or a person appointed by the court. Mr. Morales is also prohibited from going within 200 yards of the residence or place of employment or business of Ms. Reese. That residential address is 504 Cincinnati Avenue, apartment rear, El Paso, Texas, and her employment address is 660 Sunland Park, El Paso, Texas, 79912. Mr. Morales is also prohibited from engaging in any conduct towards Ms. Reese or any member of her family or household that would likely harass, terrify, intimidate, annoy, alarm, abuse, torment, embarrass, or offend the person. Mr. Morales is prohibited from possessing a firearm unless he is a peace officer and actively engaged as a sworn full-time paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. And if he has a license to carry a handgun, it is suspended immediately. Mr. Morales will be assessed court costs in connection with this protective order. He'll be provided with a copy of this protective order by mail to the last known mailing address. And a copy of this order will also be forwarded to the Chief of Police for the City of El Paso, Texas, the Sheriff of El Paso County, Texas, as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety. And pursuant to the Texas Family Code, the parties are hereby notified of their right to a de novo hearing before the referring court by filing a written request as specified in the Texas Family Code. There are also several warnings at the bottom of the protective order that all parties must adhere to. Ms. Espinosa, is there anything else that I need to address?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
I will be signing this default protective order, and I'll get it filed with the district clerk's office. District clerk will then generate a signed, dated, stamped copy that will be emailed to the county attorney's office, who will then forward it to Ms. Reese. There's nothing else. Good luck to Ms. Reese. You're free to log off. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Mr. Esparza, you'll be receiving the order again. If you could please review and sign.
I'm sorry, I went ahead and signed it and reviewed it, and I sent it over now.
You received a confirmation on it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you.
It says this document has already been signed.
Judge, I have sent the agreed order to you.
Thank you. Got it? Ms. Augustine, you ready to go on the record on this agreement?
Yes, I'm ready.
All righty. Good morning. This is the 65th Protective Order Court, El Paso, Texas. I'm Judge Victor Salas. Today is March 26, 2024. We are appearing via Zoom, and with me this morning is court reporter Elizabeth Augustine. I'm calling cause number 2024 DCM 1362 style for the protection of Dulce Levano, applicant versus Joe Angel Esparza, respondent. May I have an announcement of counsel, please?
Debbie Licona, Assistant County Attorney, on behalf of the applicant, Ms. Lievano, we are ready to proceed, Your Honor.
I see that Ms. Dulce Levano is on the Zoom gallery as the respondent, Mr. Joe Angel Esparza. Will you both please raise your right hand so I can swear you in? You'll need to unmute your thank you, Mrs. Levano. Do you both swear that any testimony that you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay. Now you can put your hands down. You'll need to speak up, Ms. Levano, because it's very faint. Mr. Esparza, I've been presented an agreed protective order with your signature on it. Is your understanding, sir?
My understanding, sir.
Okay. Was this agreed protective order explained to you by Assistant County Attorney Evie Licona?
It was explained to me, sir.
All right. And you realize that there's several things you're waiving, and one of the most important ones is that you're waiving your right to have this decision reviewed by the district court. That is called the waiver of de novo hearing. You understand that, sir?
I understand, sir.
And Mr. Esparza, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Not an accusation. I just need to know if you're under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication that does not allow you to think clearly today.
No, sir. I don't do drugs.
Okay. Are you ill, sir? And if you are ill, is that illness preventing you from thinking clearly this morning?
No, sir.
Okay. And you're here pro se, meaning without an attorney. Are you ready to proceed without an attorney this morning?
I'm ready, sir.
All righty. Then, Ms. Licona, the parties are sworn in. Call your first witness, please.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Lievano, can you please state your full name?
Dulce Lievano?
And you are the applicant in this protective order action, correct?
Yes.
At the time that you applied for this protective order, you resided in El Paso County, Texas. Is that right?
Yes.
And you and Mr. Esparza were dating, and you also have 2 children together. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I went over this agreed protective order with you. Is that right?
Yes.
And you are entering into this agreed protective order today voluntarily. Is that right?
Yes.
And you believe this order to be in your best interest, correct?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Call your next witness, please.
Mr. Esparza, can you please state your full name?
My full name is Joe Angel Esparza.
And you're the respondent in this protective order action, correct?
I'm the respondent.
And you are here not represented by an attorney, is that right?
You're not represented.
So if you could just answer yes or no, that makes more sense, okay? You understand that I do not represent you, correct?
Yes.
And I went over the terms of this agreed protective order off the record, is that right?
Yes.
And you are entering into this agreed 5-year protective order today, correct?
Correct.
And you are entering this agreement voluntarily. No one is forcing you, correct?
Correct.
And you have signed this agreement, is that right?
I've signed this agreement.
And you understand that under this agreement, you are prohibited from certain acts, mainly the provisions that we went over, is that right?
Yes.
And I've explained to you, and you understand that violating this protective order can lead to civil as well as criminal consequences, is that right?
Yes.
And you also understand that by agreeing to this protective order, you are waiving what's called a de novo hearing, correct?
Correct.
And you are swearing to this court that you do own 2 firearms, a Glock handgun and a .22 Ruger rifle. Is that correct?
Right.
And you understand that you may not own or possess those firearms or any ammunition for the duration of this 5-year protective order. Is that right?
Correct.
And you also understand that you are responsible for the court costs in this action, correct?
Correct.
And you've provided an email address where the court can send you the order, and it's part of this order, ae097.es@gmail.com. Is that right?
Right.
And you understand that you cannot live or reside with anyone who has possession of your firearms or ammunition, correct?
Correct.
No further questions of this witness, Your Honor. We rest.
Court is ready to make its findings and its rulings. The court finds that Dulce Lievano, the applicant, appeared in person with the assistant county attorney, and that Joe Angel Esparza, the respondent, appeared in person pro se. A record of the testimony has been made by Elizabeth Agustin. The court, having read the pleadings and heard the evidence and argument, finds that all necessary prerequisites of law have been satisfied and that this court has jurisdiction over the parties and the subject matter of this cause. The court also finds that the parties have agreed, as evidenced by their testimony and signatures, and subject, to the approval of the court to the terms set out in the protective order. And the court finds that such terms of the protective order are in the best interest of the applicant, the family, or household, and that such agreement shall be made part of this protective order. It is therefore ordered that the applicant's request for protective order is hereby granted until the 25th day of March of 2029, unless Joe Angel Esparza is confined or imprisoned on that day. If he's confined or imprisoned on the 25th day of March of 2029, and he's confined for a period of 5 years or more, the protective order would expire on the first anniversary of his release. If he's incarcerated for a term of less than 5 years, the protective order would then be extended until the second anniversary of his release. It's ordered that Mr. Esparza is prohibited from committing family violence, communicating directly with Ms. Luevano or any member of the family or household in a threatening or harassing manner, or communicating a threat through a third person to Ms. Luevano or any member of the family or household. Mr. Esparza is also prohibited from going within 200 yards of the place of employment or business of Ms. Luevano, or any member of the family or household, and the residential as well as the employment addresses 108 Beaumite Avenue, Apartment B, El Paso, Texas 79932. Mr. Esparza is also prohibited from engaging in any conduct towards Ms. Luevano or any member of the family or household that would likely harass, terrify, intimidate, annoy, alarm, abuse, torment, embarrass, or offend the person. And Mr. Esparza is prohibited from possessing a firearm unless he's a peace officer and he's actively engaged as in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. And Mr. Esparza is also prohibited from harming, threatening, or interfering with the care, custody, or control of a pet, companion, or assistance animal that's in the actual or constructive care of Ms. Luevano or any member of the family or household. And if Mr. Esparza has a license to carry a handgun, it is suspended immediately. It's further ordered that Joe Angel Esparza is prohibited from removing the children Joaquin Esparza and Jamaliel Esparza from the applicant Dulce Luevano's possession or from El Paso County. He is also prohibited from transferring, encumbering, or otherwise disposing of any property mutually owned or leased by the parties, except in the ordinary course of business. It is also ordered that Dulce Luevano is granted exclusive possession of these children, and that Mr. Esparza shall have no visitation at this time until further orders of a court. Mr. Esparza is ordered to surrender the firearms that he testified to, and has to surrender them either to the county sheriff's office or a third-party adult who needs to provide an affidavit to that effect on or before 12 noon on the 28th day of March of 2024. All firearms and ammunition will be returned to Mr. Esparza at the end of the protective order, upon the expiration of the protective order. Mr. Esparza is also ordered to appear on April 2nd, 2024 at 8:30 via Zoom to show that he has complied with the court's orders to surrender the firearms. Mr. Esparza, if you surrender those firearms before on the date that you're supposed to surrender them and you get a receipt, you just email that receipt into the court and you will not have to appear on the 2nd of April at 8:30. But if you do not get that done, then you need to show up to let us know why you have not been able to surrender those firearms, okay? If you do not present the receipt and you don't show up on the 2nd day of April, I will issue what's called a capias for your arrest. It's basically an arrest warrant. Okay? Court further finds that Mr. Esparza should be assessed court costs in connection with his protective order. Mr. Esparza will be provided with a copy of the protective order at the email address he provided the court, and a copy of this order will be forwarded to the Chief of Police for the City of El Paso, Texas, the Sheriff of El Paso County, Texas, as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety. And since this was an agreed protective order, the right to a de novo hearing has been waived. There are also several warnings at the bottom of the protective order that all parties must adhere to. Ms. Licona, is there anything else that I need to address?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Esparza, do you have any questions before we adjourn?
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
the firearms are not in my possession. They're at my mother's residence, and I actually gifted one of the firearms to her husband. So, is that like a surrender?
And just provide an affidavit from them saying that they have the firearms and they will not give them back to you until the end of the until the expiration of the protective order. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I just thank you.
Okay, so I will be signing this agreed protective order. I'll get it filed with the El Paso District Clerk's office. The district clerk is then going to generate a signed, dated, stamped copy that will be emailed to the county attorney's office, who will then forward it to Ms. Loyola. Mr. Esparza, you'll get a copy at the email address you provided the court. That should be in your email within by the end of the business day. If it's not there, first check your spam folder. And if it's not there, then call the court tomorrow morning. We'll email you into the copy. I wish you both the best of luck, and we are adjourned and you're free to log off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lievano. I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Mr. Villa, you there? Okay, so it looks like now we're done with these cases. All right. We have an in-person with private attorneys. Let me before we let you guys get to the tap for an early lunch. I'm not saying drinking, just for the nachos, of course. On April 4th, it is April 4th, right? April 4th, I need to go give a presentation to the Council of Governments to hopefully keep this protective order court afloat for the grant presentation. And sometimes Judge Gutierrez will do it, sometimes I'll do it, but Judge Gutierrez can't do it, so I'm going to be doing it. We have several hearings that are set already. Quite a few don't have hearings. Have not been served. So this is the way it's going to work. That the ones that have been served, we're not going to reset. Liz and Ruben will be here. Liz will let the parties in and reset the case. Okay. If the party, if the respondent doesn't show up, Ruben will note it, and when I get back later that morning or in the afternoon, we'll set it for a default hearing. Okay, so we won't have to reset that. And if like I said, if the parties, especially if the respondent does show up, then we'll just reset it. So you do have to show up for your hearings that day or have somebody show up, doesn't matter who. But most hearings will not take place. They'll just either be reset or we will reset it for a default later that morning, or because I should be back, hopefully, I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to present at 9. So it takes about half an hour. So I may be back by 10, and then we can do the defaults at like about the 11 o'clock hour. But Deanna's getting in touch with, I don't know if Deanna, you're getting in touch with the county attorneys or with the paralegals there to let them know what's going on. But you'll get notice of that somehow. But just remember, on the 4th, there won't be any hearings really happening other than defaults a little bit later in the morning or in the afternoon.
Sounds good, Judge.
All righty.
Good luck.
All right. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Okay.
Hey, Judge?
Bye.
Yes.
What was the date again? It was what?
April 4th.
April 4th. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Your Honor.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.